It's very interesting when you're watching promotion. I'm talking Jake Paul versus Ben Askren, but it's very interesting when you're watching any level of promotion. It could be a baseball game. But when you're able to identify where the entertainment begins and the truth starts, give you a great example, okay? Great example that I can personalize, but Stipe versus Daniel Cormier, part 1. And this is the big champ match. If you guys will remember, but Daniel was the light heavyweight champion. Stipe is the heavyweight champion. Daniel's moving up. Oh, by the way, the belief going into this fight is that Daniel's just not going to be big enough. But when they got to the scale, Daniel weighed in 6 pounds more than Stipe. So the smaller guy who many people were betting against because they just believed wouldn't be big enough turned out to be bigger, killed the story in its tracks, but only one day before the fight. Everything narrative-wise on that fight changed from the weigh-ins to the time that they walked out. But I'll tell you one thing that happened with me, and I was Stipe. Even before the weigh-ins, I was Stipe, and I think I was largely of that mind. Daniel's a great fight. He's just in the wrong weight class. Stipe. Daniel did an open workout. After the workout, Daniel grabs the microphone. And Daniel says, guys, I'm going to do you a favor by giving you a tip. Go bet on me. And Daniel was a 2.5 to 1 underdog. But here's what Daniel said. He said, if you haven't followed my career, I have never lost to a heavyweight. As a matter of fact, I've never even lost a round when I was at heavyweight. As a matter of fact, I never even lost a wrestling match as a heavyweight. And I remember when Daniel said it because I had followed his whole career, but it did happen too fast, and I didn't think about it in those terms. I watched him wrestle in heavyweight. I watched him beat Steve Mocco 1-0 by example at heavyweight in wrestling. It is true when he came through the Grand Prix of Strikeforce as the number 9 seed and wins the whole thing. Not only did he not lose a fight, he did not lose a round. That's true. Happened in front of me. Didn't take the time to think about it. And my entire opinion changed. I mean, this was a long buildup, if you guys remember Cormier versus Stipe. They did the Ultimate Fighter. This was a tremendously long, too long, quite frankly, of a buildup. The entire way until Daniel made that statement, I was Stipe. As soon as I go, my goodness, the truth. So Ben Askren just did some interview on Jake Paul. And Ben Askren has been having a level of fun with Paul. Again, that's the entertainment. Where's the truth? Where's the entertainment? With Paul, it's all entertainment. It's all he had. He just has a box before, right? It doesn't have any boxing matches. What do? Askren came out and said, and he was talking about Paul's lack of experience. The two, what do you call them, what Paul did? Do you call those exhibitions, smokers? What do you call it? That wasn't boxing, but it was under boxing rules. So am I wrong? Do we call it boxing? Fine, let's call it boxing. Askren said, look, those guys he fought are so terribly bad at boxing, it's hard to get a fair read on this guy. And Askren also said, what people look for in fighters is how hard they can get hit, show their toughness and their heart by pushing through it. And Askren said he's just never been hit hard. He just went against guys that were too bad at boxing, they could never hit him. Well, there was a lot of truth in that. Is it enough to make Askren right, like it was enough to make Daniel right? Oh, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. That isn't the point I'm trying to get, but now we finally got some truth. That's true. We have not seen adversity. Ben is right. What fighters get respected for is not how hard you can hit. It's how hard can you take a hit. It's not how many guys did you stop. It's how many guys were you losing to and you came back and stopped. That's where it really does get interesting. I'll tell you what, if you're ever at a live fight, you probably believe that the finish is the most exciting thing. That is the narrative that we're all taught to believe. Oh my God, there was a finish. Yeah, that's something. It is not the biggest spot. The biggest spot is when a guy is about to get finished and comes back to life, scrambles up and gets back to his feet right as he's about to get TKO. That is when you will hear the crowd react in ways you will never hear the crowd react. Which is speaking to the point of Ben Askren. There's nothing yet to respect. Is that because Paul's just so goddamn good? Nobody could hit him? Well, we don't know. That's between these guys. But Askren's making a very fair point from an argument of truth, which is his competition was so bad and we've seen so little of. We have no reason to believe that. Fill in the blank. He can hold up. He can withstand. He can come back. Talking about Paul. He can dig deep. He can deal with, talking about Paul. We know Askren can wrestle with one eye shut. fight with one eye shut. We've seen it. We know Askren can go on with a broken nose. We've seen it. We know Askren can go on with one eye shut and a broken nose because we've seen it. These are questions, and these are things that you can start to default back to and bank on and know that he's a legitimate and tough fighter. Now, is it going to turn out that Paul has none of those things just because he's so damn good? I don't know if there's anything that I just stated that you could say about Ngannou. Ngannou never showed any adversity. Well, because he was so damn good, he didn't have any adversity. Ngannou didn't have to do X, Y, and Z. Just by example, use a name that you know, but he didn't do it not because he didn't have the skill. He was so good, he never needed to use it. Right? Sometimes you got to be really tough, and you got to be really tough more often if you're not as good. If you're really good, you're not going to need toughness as much. It's just not going to come down to that. Your skills are going to overwhelm. You will generally only need one of the two. It's very rare in life that you ever find an athlete that's both, a Jordan Burroughs type, who's the best in the room and the toughest. How do you want to do this? Because I'm ready. I mean, it's very rare. You're the most skilled guy, you can win a gold medal. You're the toughest guy, you can win a gold medal. And I bring that to you because I don't think that Paul is a gold medalist in making. I do not believe he is the best or the toughest. I have definitely not seen his toughness because he hasn't needed to, I will concede. But I also haven't seen overwhelming skill. I haven't seen a whole lot of skill at all. And I can tell he's working hard. I'm seeing enough with his feints. I can also tell, and you guys never like it when I say this, but it's true. The Paul brothers are legit tough guys. I know that bothers you. They are. They are. That nerdiness you see and through what they used for entertainment, that was the act. The boxing part's not the act. And some of you guys haven't caught up to that yet. I know that frustrates you. You want to think these guys are nerds. I'm sharing with you. That was the performance. They're tough guys. Both of them are tough guys. When you're fighting Askren, it's going to take more than a tough guy, than a local neighborhood tough guy, than more a tough guy that you had junior year in high school. It's another deal when you're talking about trained. It's a whole nother conversation. I think that Ben, much like Daniel, is now starting to touch on truth. And this isn't changing my mind like I had to do with Daniel. It's reinforcing what I've always believed to be true, which is there's not going to be a whole lot to see here. You're going to see a world-class competitor taking on a guy that's working hard at boxing.